So here's something we don't talk about enough when it comes to sleep. Food. I mean, yeah, we all know that caffeine can keep us up, or that eating a huge meal right before bed probably isn't great. But very few people really understand how powerful the connection between nutrition and sleep actually is. Like, food isn't just fuel. It's not just calories. It's chemistry. It's information for your body. It's one of the main ways your body regulates mood, energy, hormones, and yes, sleep. The truth is, what you eat throughout the day, not just right before bed, but from the moment you wake up, plays a massive role in how easily you fall asleep, how deeply you sleep, and how rested you feel in the morning. And once you start paying attention to that connection, it's kind of amazing how quickly things start to change. You begin to realize that certain foods actually help you relax, that certain nutrients help your body produce the hormones that guide you into sleep, that eating the right things, in the right rhythm, at the right time, can literally shift the way your brain prepares for rest. And the best part? We're not talking about anything fancy or extreme. No supplements, no expensive powders, no trendy diets, just real food, natural ingredients, stuff your body already knows what to do with. So in this episode, we're going to walk through the science of sleep and food, but in a way that feels practical, relatable. I'm not going to throw a bunch of studies at you. I'm going to help you understand how to build your plate in a way that helps your body say, hey, we're winding down now. And we're going to start with something super foundational, tryptophan. You've probably heard that word before, usually around Thanksgiving when everyone jokes that the turkey made them sleepy. But here's what's actually happening. Tryptophan is an amino acid. That means it's one of the building blocks of protein, and your body uses it to produce serotonin, which then converts into melatonin, the hormone that tells your body it's time to sleep. So when you eat foods rich in tryptophan, you're essentially giving your body the raw materials to build the chemicals that help you rest. It's not like taking melatonin directly. It's better. It's like giving your body the recipe instead of handing it the finished product. And when your body makes its own melatonin, it does it in sync with your circadian rhythm. That means better timing, better absorption, and better sleep. So what kinds of foods are rich in tryptophan? Well, yes, turkey is one, but so are eggs, salmon, chicken, tofu, nuts, seeds, oats, and dairy products like yogurt or cottage cheese. These are all foods that can support serotonin production, especially when paired with complex carbs. And that brings us to the next important point: carbohydrates. I know carbs have gotten a bad rap in certain health circles, but when it comes to sleep, they're actually your friend. Especially complex carbs, the kind you find in whole grains, sweet potatoes, brown rice, quinoa, lentils. Here's why. Carbs help tryptophan cross the blood-brain barrier. That means they help transport it into your brain, where it can be used to produce serotonin. Without carbs, tryptophan kind of gets stuck. So combining protein and carbs, like salmon with brown rice or eggs with whole grain toast, is a powerful way to support sleep chemistry naturally. That's why people who eat low-carb or keto diets sometimes struggle with insomnia. They're not giving their brain the tools it needs to wind down. Now let's talk about magnesium, another superstar when it comes to sleep. Magnesium helps regulate neurotransmitters in your brain. That's the stuff that tells your nervous system to calm down. It also helps relax your muscles and lower cortisol levels. So yeah, it's a big deal, And unfortunately, most people are deficient in magnesium without even realizing it. But nature's got you covered. Magnesium-rich foods include dark leafy greens like spinach and Swiss chard, pumpkin seeds, almonds, avocados, bananas, and even dark chocolate. And I'm not talking about eating a candy bar before bed. I mean a little square of 85% dark chocolate, something rich in real cocoa. Not only is it satisfying, but it gives your body a boost of magnesium and helps take the edge off your stress. And that brings us to the next point. Stress and sleep are twins. If you're stressed, you don't sleep. And if you don't sleep, you're more stressed. So anything you can do to lower your stress throughout the day is going to help you sleep better at night. And yes, food can help with that too. Omega-3s, found in foods like salmon, walnuts, and flax seeds, support mood regulation and reduce inflammation, both of which play a role in sleep. Foods rich in vitamin B6, like bananas, chickpeas, and fortified cereals, help your body convert tryptophan into serotonin more efficiently. And then there's calcium, which works alongside magnesium to support melatonin production. You'll find it in dairy products, but also in sesame seeds, kale, and sardines if you're into that. So if you're starting to notice a theme here, it's this. Your body isn't waiting for some magic pill. It's waiting for real nourishment, the kind that speaks its language, the kind that reminds it, you're safe, you're supported, you have everything you need to rest. And that, to me, is the most beautiful part of all this. That sleep isn't something we have to fight for. It's something we prepare for. We feed it. We support it. We build it from the inside out. And when you start viewing your meals as part of your sleep routine, not just your bedtime, but your breakfast, your lunch, your dinner, you start giving your body the tools it needs to return to rest naturally. That's what this episode is all about. Not some food trend, not some restrictive plan, just reconnecting with what your body has been asking for all along. Real food, real rhythm, real rest. So now that we've talked about the types of foods that can support your body's natural sleep chemistry, things like tryptophan, magnesium, complex carbs, omega-3s, let's talk about something just as important but often ignored: timing. Because it's not just what you eat, it's when you eat, and how, and why. All of that matters when it comes to sleep. Think about it this way. Your digestive system is incredibly active when it's breaking down food, especially heavy meals with a lot of fat or protein. Your body needs time and energy to process all of that. And if you eat a big dinner, or worse, a big late-night snack, and then go straight to bed, you're essentially asking your body to do two opposite things at once. One part of your system is trying to rest and restore, while another part is still working full speed trying to digest. That's a conflict. And when that conflict happens, guess what usually gets sacrificed? Rest. Because your body can't go into full repair mode while it's still in breakdown mode. That's why so many people feel uncomfortable or restless at night without even realizing it's food-related. It's not just about heartburn or bloating. It's about how much energy your system has to spend when it should be powering down. So here's the rule of thumb. Try to finish eating your last full meal at least 2 to 3 hours before bedtime. Give your body time to digest, to transition, to cool down. Let it wrap up the work of the day before you ask it to slip into rest. And I know for a lot of people, dinner is the biggest or most social meal of the day. That's okay. You don't have to eat like a monk. But you can shift the balance. Maybe have a slightly lighter dinner, or move it up an hour if you can. or just be more mindful of what's on your plate. Think about ease. Think about comfort. Think about how you want to feel at 9 or 10 p.m. when you're lying in bed. And that brings me to the idea of a sleep-supportive dinner. I love this concept because it reframes the meal from something you're just doing out of habit or hunger into something you're doing for your well-being. A good dinner for sleep is one that grounds you. One that's warm, simple, balanced. It doesn't need to be a huge production. Think things like roasted sweet potatoes with leafy greens and grilled salmon, or brown rice with sautéed veggies and a soft-boiled egg, or even something as cozy as a bowl of lentil soup with a slice of whole-grain toast. You want protein, healthy fats, fiber-rich carbs, but nothing too heavy, too fried, or too stimulating. Avoid spicy foods, especially if you're sensitive. They can trigger digestion issues or heartburn that show up later, right when you're trying to sleep. Also, watch out for sugar. I know the temptation of dessert is real, and hey, we're not aiming for perfection here. But a lot of people don't realize that sugar late at night can spike your blood sugar and then crash it, which can actually wake you up around 2 or 3 a.m. with that weird, anxious jolt. If you're going to have something sweet, keep it gentle. Maybe a baked apple with cinnamon. Maybe a piece of dark chocolate and a few almonds. Something that satisfies but doesn't spike. And here's another pro tip. Think about your dinner like a wind-down cue. Just like dimming the lights or taking a warm shower, the way you eat in the evening can tell your body, we're wrapping things up now. Try to sit down when you eat. Try to slow down. Chew your food. Breathe. Put your phone down. Let the meal be a pause, not a rush. Let it be the beginning of your descent into rest. Because food is more than fuel. It's rhythm. It's ritual. And your body loves rhythm. It thrives on it. And when your meals are part of that rhythm, when your dinner is aligned with your wind down, you sleep deeper. You fall asleep faster. You wake up with more clarity. That's not magic. That's biology working with intention. I also want to say something important here, especially if you've struggled with nighttime snacking or emotional eating. For a lot of people, nighttime is the loneliest part of the day. It's when the distractions fall away, when the feelings come up, when the brain won't stop thinking, and food becomes a way to cope, a way to soothe, a way to fill the quiet, and I get that. I've been there. There's no judgment here. But if you're eating late at night, not because you're hungry, but because you're unsettled, I want you to know that your body doesn't need more food. It needs more comfort. It needs more gentleness. It needs a signal that says, you're okay, you're safe, you can rest now. And sometimes that signal can come from food, but more often it comes from other rituals, from a warm cup of tea, from a soft blanket, from a slow breath with the lights off, from holding yourself the way you wish someone else would. Your sleep doesn't need more calories. It needs calm, it needs warmth, it needs love. And that's something food can support, but it's not something food can replace. So if you find yourself reaching for snacks every night out of habit or emotion, try this instead. Pause. Ask, what am I actually hungry for? And listen to the answer. Maybe it's rest. Maybe it's connection. Maybe it's stillness. Maybe it's a moment to be with yourself. And maybe, if you start giving yourself those things, the need to eat late at night starts to fade. Not because you're being disciplined, but because you're being nourished in a different way. That's the heart of this conversation. That sleep isn't just physical, it's emotional, it's spiritual, It's connected to every part of how we treat ourselves. And when we eat in a way that supports rest, with real food, real timing, real awareness, everything begins to soften. Everything starts to return to center. Everything feels a little more peaceful, a little more possible. That's the kind of dinner I want for you. Not one that checks boxes. One that prepares you, lovingly, naturally, for sleep. Let's take it one step further now and talk about something that often gets overlooked when it comes to natural sleep support. What you drink. Because just like food, the liquids you put into your body throughout the day, and especially in the evening, have a huge impact on how your body transitions into rest. And I'm not just talking about caffeine. Yes, we'll get to that. But there's a whole world of calming, grounding, sleep-supportive drinks that you can turn into rituals. Little anchors at the end of your day that tell your nervous system, we're winding down now. We're safe. It's time to let go. One of the most beautiful things about using beverages to support sleep is that they engage all your senses. The warmth of the mug in your hands, the aroma rising in the steam, the gentle flavor, the act of sitting still while you sip. It's not just about what's in the cup. It's about what the experience tells your body. That slow, mindful act is a kind of meditation, a kind of pause, and that pause is powerful. So let's start with one of the most well-known and beloved nighttime drinks, herbal tea. There are so many options, but a few stand out when it comes to promoting sleep. The classic one is chamomile, and for good reason. Chamomile contains antioxidants that bind to certain receptors in your brain and promote relaxation. It's not a sedative exactly. It's more of a gentle nudge, a whisper that says, shh, it's okay now. Drinking a warm cup of chamomile tea about an hour before bed can help ease you into stillness. Another great one is peppermint tea. It's not technically a sedative, but it helps with digestion. And if your stomach feels settled, your whole system tends to calm down. Lemon balm, part of the mint family, is also a fantastic choice. It helps reduce anxiety and tension. Then there's passion flower, which is especially helpful if your brain tends to race at night. It boosts GABA in the brain, which is a neurotransmitter that helps you relax and sleep. And finally, valerian root tea. Though it's got a very earthy, strong taste, it's one of the more potent herbal sleep aids. Just keep in mind that everyone responds differently to herbs, so try one at a time and see what feels right for your body. And always check with a healthcare provider if you're on medication, just to be safe. Now, if tea isn't your thing, or if you want something a little heartier, let's talk about warm milk. I know it sounds old-fashioned, maybe even a little silly, but there's real wisdom in that tradition. Warm milk contains tryptophan, calcium, and a natural comfort that comes from its texture and warmth. You can even add a pinch of cinnamon or a splash of vanilla for flavor. Or try golden milk, which is made with warm milk and turmeric, plus a little ginger and black pepper. It's anti-inflammatory, grounding, and so deeply soothing. You can use dairy milk or a plant-based version like almond, oat, or coconut. Just go for the unsweetened kind. You don't want to spike your blood sugar right before bed. The key here is to keep it simple, warm, and calming. A gentle drink, a signal to slow down. Another beautiful option is tart cherry juice. Just a small glass, not too much, since it's still juice. But tart cherries are one of the only natural food sources of melatonin. And several studies have shown that drinking tart cherry juice can help improve sleep duration and quality, especially for people with insomnia. Just make sure it's pure tart cherry juice, not a blend with added sugar. Sip it about an hour before bed and see how your body responds. Now, while we're on the topic of beverages, let's talk about what to avoid. And this might be even more important than what to add. First up, the obvious one, caffeine. And not just coffee. Caffeine is in soda, energy drinks, some teas like black and green tea, and even in things like chocolate. And here's the tricky part. Caffeine has a half-life of about 6 hours. That means if you drink a cup of coffee at 3 p.m., about half of that caffeine is still in your system at 9 p.m. And depending on your sensitivity, that might be enough to mess with your ability to fall asleep or stay asleep. So if you're having trouble sleeping, try cutting off caffeine after noon. Even better, experiment with going caffeine-free for a few days and see how your sleep responds. You might be surprised. Next up, alcohol. I know this one's tricky. A lot of people use alcohol to unwind, a glass of wine with dinner, a nightcap to relax. And while alcohol might help you fall asleep faster, it actually disrupts your sleep later in the night. It suppresses REM sleep, which is the stage where you dream and your brain does emotional processing. It also increases the chances of waking up in the middle of the night and can lead to dehydration. So while it might feel relaxing at first, it's not real rest. If you're going to drink, try to do it earlier in the evening and give your body plenty of time to process it before bed. Better yet, find other ways to relax, like tea, stretching, journaling, things that don't mess with your sleep architecture. One last thing to keep in mind, hydration. It's important to stay hydrated throughout the day, but you want to avoid chugging water right before bed. Otherwise, you'll be waking up at 2 or 3 a.m. with a full bladder. So try front-loading your hydration earlier in the day, and then taper off as the evening comes. If you're thirsty at night, take small sips, not a whole glass. And if nighttime bathroom trips are a common issue for you, this one change might make a huge difference. So to sum it up, what you drink matters. The warmth, the rhythm, the ingredients, all of it tells your body something. And when you choose your nighttime beverages with intention, with care, they can become beautiful parts of your wind-down ritual. You don't need anything complicated, just a warm mug, a few deep breaths, a quiet moment. That's where rest begins. And the more consistently you give yourself those moments, the more your body will begin to trust them, to expect them, to respond to them with softness. And over time, those sips become signals. Signals that say, we're safe now, we're done for today, it's time to rest. So now that we've explored the foods that support sleep, from protein and complex carbs to magnesium-rich greens and omega-3s, and we've talked about how timing, emotion, and even drinks like herbal tea or tart cherry juice all play into the sleep equation, it's time to bring it all together. Because the truth is, sleep isn't just a switch you flip at night. It's something your body is preparing for all day long. And food, as simple as it seems, is one of the most powerful ways to support that preparation. But here's the thing most people miss. This isn't about chasing perfection. It's not about building the perfect dinner or always eating at the perfect time or finding the perfect sleep tea and sticking to it like a rule. It's about awareness. It's about reconnecting to your body's natural rhythm. And it's about realizing that every choice you make, every bite, every sip, every pause to breathe before eating, can either move you toward rest or away from it. It's not all or nothing. It's not pass or fail. It's a practice. And the beautiful thing is, your body is always listening, always responding. Even the smallest changes make a difference. Maybe tonight you choose to skip the spicy takeout and go for something simple and warm. Maybe tomorrow morning you swap out your sugary cereal for eggs and whole grain toast. Maybe you brew yourself a cup of chamomile tea and sit with it instead of scrolling your phone. Maybe you just stop eating an hour earlier and give your body more space to digest before bed. Whatever it is, it doesn't have to be dramatic to be powerful, because every small shift toward nourishment is a signal to your nervous system that it's safe to rest, that it's being supported, that it doesn't have to fight anymore. And over time, those signals add up. They build trust, they build rhythm. They build the foundation for the kind of sleep that doesn't just restore your energy, it restores your soul. And here's what I want you to remember most. Your body already knows how to sleep. Deeply, naturally, restfully. It's not broken. It's not failing. It's not working against you. It might just be asking for a little more support, a little more consistency, a little more care. And food, real, nourishing, intentional food, is one of the most loving ways to offer that care. So instead of thinking about what you need to cut or fix or restrict, try thinking about what you can add. Can you add a leafy green to your lunch? A handful of nuts to your snack? A banana or some oats in the morning? Can you add warmth to your dinner? Or ritual to your bedtime tea? Can you add stillness to the moment you eat, even if just for a breath? Because those additions aren't just about nutrition, they're about healing. They're about listening to your body in a world that's constantly trying to rush it. They're about building the kind of daily rhythm that sleep recognizes, that your nervous system trusts, that your soul responds to. And maybe the most important addition of all, grace. Grace for the nights when you eat too late. Grace for the days when you forget to drink water. Grace for the moments when you reach for food, not out of hunger, but out of habit. You're human. You're learning. And every step toward nourishment is a win. So tonight, maybe you start with something small. Maybe it's a warm bowl of soup, or a calming tea, or just a little moment with your body where you say, hey, I know you've been carrying a lot. I want to help you rest now. Let your food become part of that conversation. Let it speak the language of care. Let it be a bridge back to rest. You don't need a sleep supplement. You don't need to control everything. You just need to support what your body already knows how to do. And when you start doing that day by day, meal by meal, your sleep starts to shift. It starts to feel softer, safer, closer. That's what this whole journey is about. Not fixing your sleep, reclaiming it, nourishing it, making space for it in your life, in your kitchen, in your evening routine. Because sleep isn't just what happens in the dark. It starts with light, with food, with breath, with intention, and with love. And if this episode helped you see that a little more clearly, if it reminded you that you have more power than you think, then I'd love for you to stick around. Subscribe to the Daily Health Shift so we can keep exploring together. We're building something special here. A space where rest is sacred, where healing is natural, and where you never have to figure it out alone. And if you know someone who's been struggling to sleep, not because they don't want to, but because they're not nourishing their body in a way that supports it, maybe send this to them. Sometimes all it takes is one new meal, one cup of tea, one gentle voice saying, hey, this could help. So thank you for being here, for listening, for caring about your body, in a world that often tells you to push through. You deserve rest, and it's closer than you think. I'll see you in the next episode.